Hi, my name's Christina and my husband and I have recently just moved to the Sunshine Coast and found this wonderful church to be a part of, and no sooner had that happened than we're all in lockdown. But God's not in lockdown. He's still moving, He's still good, He still cares for us. And I've just got a little bit of a testimony to share. Actually, I've probably got a million of them. He's been so very good to me in my life and continues to be. But probably one of the bigger things that He's done for us is that He provided a way for us to have our own home when it was really, really impossible for that to happen. And we'd been serving in ministry, and we'd been self-employed, small business, and had rarely had a secure income, and were not really what the banks and society would call a viable option as far as being able to purchase our own home went. And so we went many years without that, and we'd been married for nearly a decade, and I just sort of thought, well, if we always just only ever rent, that's okay. We've got a roof over our heads, and that's fine. But I also sought God and really asked Him, is that what we should, just be content with? Because that's an important thing, to be content with what you have. Or is there something more that you would have us believe you for, Lord? And I really, really felt over a period of time him encouraging and speaking to me and to my husband and I about believing Him for our own home. You can pay rent or you can pay your home off, and essentially you end up with an asset at the end. So it seemed like a smart move to make, but we started to stand on His word, and there was a whole pile of scriptures that I felt like God would just bring to me that just seemed to affirm that this was something He was happy for us to have. He was wanting to make a way. We just needed to come into faith, and it was a really hard journey. It took several years, probably about a good 2 to 3 years, where I was really consistently praying about this. And we had some moments where it just went pear-shaped. It just fell in a heap and looked like it was not going to happen at all. At one stage we were told that you'll never get a home loan because, and this is from the banking sector and mortgage brokers, you'll never get a home loan because you've had been knocked back, too many times. And we'd sort of kept a priority, or tried to keep a priority in our lives on serving God. And I'd stayed home with the kids when they were young, and that had cost us probably financially, but we'd really felt we wanted to go that way. And we tried to be wise. In fact, one of the big paths to having this come through was learning to operate in wisdom in our finances. So we had to sort of knuckle that down. We had to obey God. There were times where we tried to do this sort of our way, and it just was disastrous. And, when you try and do it your own way in your own strength, God He just wouldn't work with us on that. He loves us way too much to let us go down that path. So there's too many small details to tell you, but after we'd had it, sort of fail on us several times, and sometimes that was our own fault, and other times I just have no explanation. But what it did build was great tenacity and strength in learning to believe God for a provision. I learned all the scriptures on it, and after about 2 to 3 years, we had a series of coincidences that happened that could not, they all just happened at the right time, at the right moment, and suddenly, very, very quickly, we found ourselves able to buy our own home. It was such a shock in some ways that the day that we were moving into our home, we got the keys and we're driving to the new house with all our gear, and we pull up there, and there in the front garden was the previous owner mowing the yard. And what I didn't know was that he was just doing that as a nice gesture for us moving into our new house. It was lovely. But I'd had so much disappointment with it, and that I looked at it and thought, there's been a mistake. The house isn't ours. The owners are still there. Anyhow, I had that happen a bit. It took us a while to realise this is for real. This has actually happened. And God's just continued on in that vein. We were behind financially because we'd done 20 years of ministry on a not secure income. We'd been self-employed, small business. Like I said, I'd stayed home with the kids. We were financially behind most people our own age, our friends and that. But God is so kind and faithful if you'll seek Him and you lay things up at times. You come back again and you get the word from Him and you follow through we within less than 2 decades, not 2 days, that would have been good. Within less than 2 decades, we came into a situation where we owned our own home outright. We actually owned a home outright and had a second that was nearly paid off. It's a long story, but his kindness, He cares. He really cares. And if there are little things and seeds in your heart, things to believe Him for, don't give up on them. He will come through. Thank you.